If you found your way to these words, something extraordinary has already taken place. You might believe you clicked because of curiosity, or perhaps because the title caught your attention, but the truth runs deeper. This isn't chance. This isn't the algorithm, and it's not mere coincidence. You were drawn here by an alignment, an invisible magnetic pull that emerges only when your consciousness is ready to encounter a higher frequency of truth. Right now, in this very moment, your awareness is standing at the threshold of a hidden gateway in reality. Most people believe the defining power of quantum physics is the observer effect. The idea that once you look, once you focus, once you direct consciousness, the infinite possibilities collapse into one reality. For decades, millions of seekers have clung to this explanation, building entire methods of manifestation around it. They visualize, they affirm, they stare at vision boards and imagine different lives. And yet so many remain frustrated, stuck, trapped in repeating loops that no amount of observation seems to change. But here's the secret. The observer effect is not the source of transformation. It is only the surface ripple of something infinitely deeper. Beneath observation exists a hidden mechanism, an origin point, that decides which reality you even have the chance to observe. Imagine reality as countless radio stations, all broadcasting simultaneously. The observer effect tunes you within a single station. But what chooses the station itself? That choice happens before observation. That is the hidden quantum gateway. This shift doesn't occur in your thinking mind. It doesn't happen when you imagine a better job or focus on a new relationship. It doesn't respond to effort in the way you've been taught. Instead, it emerges from the frequency you embody, your state of being before the thought. The field beneath your thoughts determines which framework of reality you even step into. And here's the part that should make your heart race a little. You are standing inside that gateway right now. The proof is that you are here, absorbing these words, resonating with these ideas at exactly this time in your life. Out of billions of people scrolling, most moved on. Some paused, then left. But you stayed. That alone is evidence that your energetic signature is aligned with this message. You've entered a moment of quantum selection, whether or not you realize it. Think about the restlessness you've been feeling lately. The subtle pull that tells you the ordinary explanations of life are no longer enough. Sometimes it feels like being out of place, like you're living in a world that doesn't quite match who you are becoming. Sometimes it's the feeling that time doesn't behave for you the way it does for others. Hours vanish in minutes, or minutes stretch into eternity. These aren't glitches or poor focus. They are signs that your awareness is already operating across multiple dimensions of time. Haven't you noticed how reality sometimes rearranges itself around you? The right person calls at the perfect moment. The solution to a problem arrives the instant you stop obsessing over it. Dreams carry fragments of information about events that haven't happened yet. These are not accidents. These are not wishful imaginings. They are evidence of your nervous system adjusting to quantum frequencies. You are beginning to perceive what most people cannot, the nonlinear fabric of existence. Here's the irony. You've probably thought of yourself as ordinary, or even questioned whether something is wrong with you. You've wondered why you feel things so intensely, why you sense energies in rooms before anyone speaks, why some people are magnetically drawn to you, while others feel strangely uncomfortable in your presence. The truth is, you're not broken. You're tuned differently. Your field is broadcasting a signal that organizes quantum probabilities around you. You are already influencing reality, not through force but through resonance. The hidden quantum gateway is about embodiment. When you embody the frequency of a reality, you don't have to chase it, force it, or even imagine it constantly. You simply step into it. Your consciousness selects the framework, and then life begins to flow from that alignment. Think of it as the difference between dreaming and waking. In a dream, you don't have to observe the dream into being. You are the dream. The hidden gateway allows you to realize the same truth in waking life. This is not abstract theory. It's not something reserved for mystics, gurus, or scientists. It's happening within you already. Consider the times you've experienced déjà vu, not just a vague sense of familiarity, but the certainty that you've lived this exact combination of people, places, and energy before. Those moments occur because your consciousness is entangled with versions of you living parallel realities. When you sense it, you're brushing against the edges of the quantum gateway. And what about those sudden downloads of knowing? The instant clarity about a decision, the gut feeling that later proves correct, the wave of understanding that arrives without logic or study? That is direct access to the source code of reality. Your rational mind plays catch-up, but your consciousness is already plugged into the infinite field. Every difficulty in your life has been preparation for this recognition. The losses, the heartbreaks, the jobs that fell apart, The plans that dissolved, they weren't punishments. They were the dismantling of an old operating system that could never handle the bandwidth of your expanding consciousness. Just like a caterpillar must dissolve into liquid inside the cocoon before reorganizing into a butterfly, you've been dissolving, and now you are emerging with wings you didn't know you had. You are not here by mistake. The fact that these words are reaching you means the gateway is opening wider. The very act of listening is shifting your frequency. There is no effort required beyond presence. Already, as your eyes move across these sentences, something subtle inside you is resonating. Circuits in your awareness that were dormant are flickering online. This is the first step: recognition. The hidden quantum gateway is not something you must construct or discover through endless searching. It is something you remember, something your soul has always known, but your mind had forgotten beneath the noise of conventional life. And the more you recognize it, the more it activates. Ask yourself right now, what if your reality isn't shaped by what you observe, but by who you are while observing? What if the true key isn't attention but embodiment? What if the life you've been chasing has been waiting all along, just beyond the frequency you used to inhabit? Pause and feel it for a moment. The subtle hum in your chest, the shift in the quality of your awareness. That is the resonance of the hidden gateway, beginning to vibrate through you. You've entered the threshold, and what comes next will not just change how you see reality. It will change the very framework from which your reality is born. Have you ever wondered why the hardest seasons of your life felt like they were designed to break you? Why relationships ended suddenly? Why opportunities slipped away? Or why situations that seemed so promising collapsed before they could bear fruit? On the surface, those moments look like failure, like loss, like punishment. But if you look deeper, you'll see they were not accidents. They were initiations. Every trial you faced, every tear you shed, every restless night when the weight of the world pressed against your chest, it was all part of your calibration. Just as a musician tunes an instrument string by string, your soul has been tuning your frequency experience by experience. The universe wasn't pushing you down. It was pulling you into alignment with the hidden quantum gateway. Think about this. A butterfly doesn't sprout wings while living comfortably as a caterpillar. Inside the cocoon, everything dissolves. Its structure breaks down, its identity disintegrates, and what once crawled must completely vanish before flight becomes possible. That process looks like destruction, but in truth, it is transformation. The same is true for you. The heartbreak wasn't cruelty. It was clearing away the emotional patterns that could never sustain the new frequency. The job loss wasn't failure. It was the removal of attachments that kept you tied to an old timeline. The loneliness wasn't punishment. It was the space in which your higher self could prepare you to step through the quantum threshold. And maybe you've felt it already, that strange sense that even in your darkest moments, something inside was whispering, hold on, there's more. You're being prepared. Here's the truth most people never realize. Pressure isn't proof of weakness. Pressure is proof of potential. The greater the frequency your consciousness is preparing to hold, the greater the resistance you'll feel as the old framework cracks. You weren't meant to break, you were meant to expand. Now consider the moments in your life when reality itself felt strange, almost dreamlike. Maybe you walked into a room and felt as though the air carried information your mind couldn't explain. Maybe you met someone and instantly knew they would change your life, even before a word was spoken. Maybe you noticed how time bent around certain events, stretching or collapsing in ways that no clock could measure. These are not random curiosities. They are signals that your awareness is no longer confined to Newtonian cause and effect. You are beginning to live in quantum coherence. Here's a question. How many times have you felt like you've already lived a moment before it happened? More than déjà vu, more than coincidence. An absolute certainty that this event, these people, this exact energy has unfolded before. That happens because your consciousness is entangled with alternate versions of yourself. You're brushing up against parallel timelines where different choices have already been made, and fragments of those experiences bleed through. And what about those sudden flashes of knowledge you couldn't explain? You just knew the answer, even though no evidence supported it. Later, reality confirmed it. That's not luck, that's direct access to the informational field, beyond linear thought. You are downloading truth from the very source code of reality. These experiences are not fantasies. They are evidence that your nervous system is expanding to operate at a higher bandwidth of consciousness. The hidden gateway isn't ahead of you. It's already pulsing through you. Every impossible synchronicity you've encountered has been a preview. Every dream that gave you guidance before an event unfolded was a reminder. Every time reality organized itself around your state of being, it was a hint. You're crossing the threshold. But here's the part that changes everything. You can learn to enter this state deliberately. Not as a random occurrence, not as a fleeting miracle, but as a way of being. The moment you realize that your identity itself is the selector of reality frameworks, you stop asking, how do I manifest what I want? Instead, you begin asking, who must I become so that reality has no choice but to reflect my frequency? Pause here and let that sink in. Your struggles weren't proof that manifestation doesn't work. They were proof that you were still trying to create from the wrong layer, from the mind, from intention, from effort. The hidden quantum gateway operates below all of that. It responds not to thought, but to embodiment. When you embody the frequency of a timeline, you don't chase it, you live it. And maybe you've already tasted this, haven't you? Those moments when you let go completely, when you stopped trying to force reality into shape, and instead surrendered fully into presence. What happened then? Reality shifted. Solutions appeared. Help arrived. The impossible suddenly became inevitable. That wasn't luck. That was you slipping unconsciously into the hidden gateway. Here's the danger. Most people encounter this shift accidentally, but then their rational mind dismisses it. They call it coincidence. They doubt it. They move on, and by ignoring it, they deactivate it. But you're still listening. That means you're ready to claim it consciously. Feel into this truth. The gateway isn't far away. It's not waiting in the future. It's right here, humming beneath every thought, pulsing behind every emotion. And as you become aware of it, you begin to stabilize it. What was once a fleeting spark becomes a steady flame. This is why your journey has felt so unusual. Why you've often felt like the outsider in your own life. You weren't supposed to fit into the old paradigm. You weren't meant to find comfort in the conventional. You were designed to be a bridge, a living example of what happens when human consciousness evolves beyond linear limitation and begins to operate in quantum selection. And now the preparation is complete. You've endured the dismantling. You've survived the dissolving. You've walked through the fire of transformation, even when you didn't understand why it was happening. What remains is a consciousness ready to step fully into the hidden gateway. But don't expect it to look the way your old self imagined. The universe doesn't operate on effort the way society has taught you. It operates on resonance. The moment you embody a frequency, reality must conform. The people, opportunities, synchronicities, they arrive not because you chase them, but because they cannot not appear when you radiate that vibration. So let me ask you again, what if everything you thought was against you was secretly for you? What if every loss was a clearing? Every heartbreak a recalibration? Every failure a disguised initiation? What if your entire life up to this point has been preparing you for the recognition you're having right now? Take a breath and feel that truth land in your chest. The expansion you've been craving isn't in the future. It's happening right now. With each word resonating in your awareness, you're stepping deeper into the quantum field. And from this place, nothing in your life will remain the same. Because you are no longer the observer. You are becoming the origin. If you've made it this far, something inside you already knows. You weren't meant to remain a passive observer. The hidden quantum shift is asking you to step into your role as the origin, the source point where reality begins. Pause for a moment and really let that sink in. You are not a random being floating through an indifferent universe. You are a generator. Every thought, every emotion, every state you choose to embody is the seed of an unfolding timeline. And yet most people live as if they are powerless, as if they're waiting for permission, waiting for evidence, waiting for some external proof before they allow themselves to believe. But the truth is, reality doesn't start out there. It starts here, inside of you. The external world isn't the cause. It's the echo. Imagine dropping a stone into a perfectly still pond. The ripples spread outward, reaching every edge. That's how your state of being works. The field doesn't respond to your begging or your fear. It responds to the stone you drop, the vibration you anchor. The life you are living right now isn't a punishment, and it isn't luck. It's the ripple effect of the stones you've been unconsciously throwing. Now here's the turning point. The hidden quantum shift is the moment you realize you don't have to wait for evidence anymore. You don't need proof. You are the proof. When you begin embodying the frequency of the reality you choose before you see it, before you touch it, before you hear it, the field reorganizes itself around you. This is why the old manifestation techniques left you frustrated. You were trying to manipulate the ripples without changing the stone. You were affirming abundance while radiating scarcity. You were visualizing love while embodying fear. You were reciting possibilities while feeling unworthy. And so nothing changed. Because the field doesn't bend to words. It bends to frequency. But something happens when you shift at the level of being. Suddenly reality bends. Opportunities emerge without effort. Encounters happen that your rational mind could never have scripted. The people you need appear in perfect timing. The resources show up, and everything feels strangely inevitable, as though life itself was conspiring in your favor all along. That is the hidden quantum shift. Not chasing reality, not forcing it, not trying to think your way into control, but becoming so fully aligned, so deeply anchored in the frequency of your chosen timeline, that reality cannot help but reflect it back. And maybe you've already glimpsed this. Remember the times when you felt completely certain, when no evidence supported you. Yet you knew things would work out? What happened? They did. Because certainty isn't just confidence, it's coherence. It's when your energy, your belief, and your embodiment vibrate as one. Now imagine living like that every day. Imagine waking up not to uncertainty, not to struggle, but to an unshakable knowing that reality is already working in your favor. Imagine what it would feel like to stop waiting and start radiating. That's not just possible, that's the invitation. But here's the question, will you accept it? Because stepping into this truth requires courage. It asks you to let go of the comfort of excuses. It asks you to stop waiting for proof before believing. It asks you to walk as if the new reality is already here, while the old reality still lingers like a fading shadow. That's not easy, but that's the only way the shift becomes permanent. Think about it. A radio doesn't pick up every frequency at once. It only plays the station it's tuned to. If you don't like what you're hearing, you don't argue with the station. You turn the dial. The hidden quantum shift works the same way. Stop arguing with the reality you don't want. Start tuning yourself to the one you do. And the moment you do, the field rearranges. Reality bends. Life changes. So let me ask you directly. What frequency are you ready to embody today? What stone will you drop into the pond of existence? Will it be the stone of fear, doubt, and waiting? Or will it be the stone of knowing, certainty, and creation? This is your threshold moment. If you've been feeling the resonance of these words, if something deep inside is saying, yes, this is it, this is what I've been waiting for, then your consciousness is ready. You are ready to stop living as the observer and to step fully into your role as the origin. And from here forward, life will not be the same. Because once you see the truth, you cannot unsee it. Once you feel the frequency, you cannot forget it. Once you embody the shift, you cannot return to the old way of being. The hidden quantum gateway isn't something you visit. It's something you become. So breathe deeply. Feel this moment not just in your mind, but in your body. Anchor it. Let the vibration settle into your cells. Because this is the beginning of your new timeline. The only question that remains is, will you claim it? If this message resonated with you, don't let it end here. Step into your own hidden quantum shift today. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, because their awakening could depend on it. And if you want to keep unlocking deeper truths like this, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay connected, because together, we're building a community of conscious creators who no longer wait for life to happen, but become the origin of it. Your shift has already begun. Now it's your move.